Yes, I do kind of. Alright, so this is going to be a book review for You're the Universe by Deepak Chopra. So, this is the thing. If you like quantum physics and spirituality and stuff like that, boom, worlds collide. You have this. He talks about things like does essence precede existence and like other
Those
things.
are deep issues.
Those, exactly. Deep out there in the universe. But guess what? The universe is also you. So it's deep inside of you.
That sounds hippy dippy.
It is. If you've ever wondered if there's design in the universe or what happened before the Big Bang, this is a fun one to listen to. It's very heavy in the science research part, but it's a lot of food for thought in this one. I will say take what he says with a grain of salt because he's not a physicist. And he says a couple things that are controversial in the science world, like the non-locality of the brain being the same as the non-locality of like microparticles or whatever. So yeah, do more research. But this is a lot of food for thought again. I gave it like a 4 out of 5 because it was very interesting. Yeah.
Dave thinks the nuclear reactor was
Usually door that. I don't know, man.
Next, I read Right to the Point, which is the most recent book I've finished this month, so there's that. Scott Fallman was a computer scientist in 1982, and he was the first person to ever use an emoji. Isn't that cool? He thought that next to any messages on their board that were supposed to be jokes, he was like, hey, let's put a smiley face next to it. And that's how the emojis were born. And I learned that from this book. Yeah, it just has a lot of practical advice and tips on how to be a better writer for any purpose, like it says right here. It just goes through like the right uses of, for example, who versus whom. Like that's so confusing, but now it's so much clearer now. And things just like passive voice, active voice, things that you should say to grab in your audience, ways that you can merge stories into facts and a bigger part of a plot and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're a beginner and would like to get into writing or better writing just for your everyday life, this is a good book. I would highly recommend. Now this is sick. They kept all the keys to all the rooms. Ooh, ho, ho, ho.
The master keys.
That's sick. Oh, it's 10 off. Put them back. We don't need them. Am I cool? Alright, so the next book I want to talk about is Propaganda by Bernays. And if you don't know who he is, you low-key do, because he's a person that made popular like getting diamond rings for weddings, and like everybody does that now. So whether or not you know it, you've been influenced by Bernays. So he was the nephew of Sigmund Freud. So he was one of the first people to apply advertising and emotions to get people to buy shit or just for them to conform to a certain idea. He was one of the first people to create kind of like the manufacturing consent, like making you think that you're making choices on your own, but by applying social like signifiers to things, you automatically make buying things more, I don't know how to explain it. It's like Matthew McConaughey being the front person for Lincoln. Like they sold how many cars because of Matthew McConaughey in a way that signifies like, oh, when you look at that car, you think, I want to be as cool as Matthew McConaughey. So you buy that car to get you that social,
All right.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Alright. I feel like this was a library in the past. That makes sense. Look at all the shelves. Unfortunate that all the books are gone.
For where they kept all the other curtains.
For real, I mean.
So they can just change them out and have nice new curtains every day.
Yeah. This is so sick. You should open it. Alright, so the next couple books I don't have the physical form of because I either have them on Kindle or the Libby app as audiobooks. So yeah, this is one of the best things, by the way, because like it's so small. You can just bring it with you everywhere. So yeah. The next book I want to talk about is Grit by Angela Duckworth. And great name, 10 out of 10. That book is all about perseverance and talent and how you need to put work into things, if that makes sense. So what's more important in life is that you try hard at whatever you're doing. Perseverance is way more effective in getting you where you want than actual skill. I mean, yeah, you need to be skilled and you need to be working towards what you want, but keep, like, not giving up is what gets people where they are today.
Grit.
Yes. Alright. I know what I'm talking about. Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. That book was so fun. I listened to the audiobook and it was narrated by him, so it was so much more pleasant. I didn't know he had so many like crazy, weird stories. Alright, so there's this really fun story in there about how he really wanted to have his own like tree house. So there was a lumber yard right behind his house, and he broke in there, stole lumber, and started building his tree house in his backyard in the middle of the night. And it was really funny. Like, there were so many stories that you wouldn't think he would like have these fun stories because he's a proper celebrity or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, it was really fun. And he's been journaling for like 35 years, so you're getting a lot of stuff from throughout his entire life, which is really cool. So highly recommend. The next book I read was How to Lie with Statistics by Daryl Huff. I think I'm getting that right. The entire book is pretty much talking about how data can be presented in so many different ways, and people that are behind these statistics pick the one that's most convenient to them. That's usually how it works. Because usually you're trying to get money for your science project, for your science research, or you want to convince people that something is good or bad, so you change around, not necessarily that the statistics are wrong, but that they can be misleading. So this book just talks about how we should all be aware of stuff like this, because it's very easy to fall into an idea that is not necessarily the right thing, you know, if that makes sense. I don't know. So pretty much what you'll learn in this book is to be more critical about the data that you read, because if you think about it, the word average can be mean, medium, or mode, which will represent vastly different things when you look at those. So be aware of things like that. Like, that's a practical thing that this book teaches you, I guess. So yeah, I learned a lot. Cool. Alright, next book I want to talk about is Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Ames. I think that's how you say his last name. Anyways, that book was so good. It is a fantasy book about this group of old mercenaries literally old mercenaries who will go on one last big quest, and it's really fun. All the characters are really cool. Like, they're all very different, and you just love all of them. And it's just a fun D&D campaign type feel, you know? We love that. What can I say, really? This was so good. Just the style of the writing was very fun. The book was so funny. Like, I never really laugh at books that much, but this one I actually laughed out loud a lot. And there were so many heartfelt moments, and the characters are just so unique and lively, and you just want to hang out with them and have laughs and drinks with them. So yeah, if you're looking for like a nice, light, heartfelt story about pals getting back together and like messing shit up, this is it.
So this is the laboratory practices. Laboratory decontamination certificate. That's good.
Alright, so the next book I read was Think Again by Adam Grant, because, I don't know, I just honestly heard the title, thought it was interesting. So the point of the book is to reimagine intelligence as relearning and unthinking, if that makes sense. So being able to change your mind about topics and being flexible to hearing what other people have to say and the importance of that. And yeah, I think I learned a lot of practical things that I will take with me for the rest of my life, probably. I've definitely been thinking about that book after reading it. So yeah, I think I'd highly recommend it for people that want to be more open-minded, I guess. And yeah, take every opportunity you get to learn. That's pretty much what this book's about, so yeah, highly recommend.
Hello.
Now a little bit to the right.
No, I do not want bacon.
I also read The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. Yes, it took me so long to read. I've been reading it for like 6 months now, 3 months, I don't know. Anyways, it was very chunky. It had a lot of useful information. Could it be condensed into a smaller volume? Probably. I gotta go.
So wait, what was
And
your
I'm back.
end
I've been
thought?
cryo-frozen.
Beautiful.
Alright, next book is Yearbook by Seth Rogen. I don't usually read celebrity books or anything like that. And this month I happened to read 2, which were both very good. Seth Rogen, I just love that man. I want him to make me a pop so I could have it, you know? Anyways, he's so funny. If you like Seth Rogen and if you want to hear more like his life adventures, it's very autobiographical. So you'll hear stories of his childhood, about how he almost got killed for money buying drugs. Anyways, I liked it. I liked it a lot. He's so funny. I gotta go. The last book I want to talk about is Foundation by Isaac Asimov. It's the first book in the Foundation series. It's a very old sci-fi. He's one of like the pioneers of the sci-fi genre, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, anyways, it was alright. It definitely felt very old sci-fi, very much like Dune and the plots within plots, and it follows a generation of like different powerful people and how they are dealing with these different catastrophes, I guess. I enjoyed it, but Dune is better, in my opinion.
Stand triumphant.
For my city! Are you making fun of me?
A little bit.
Should I turn around so I look like even more ominous?
Yeah, maybe.
For my city.
Oh my
it bulges.
I don't see these.